making his first start at this event and coming off of his 74th career win last week at the AT&T National. Tiger, welcome to the Greenbrier Classic. Get some comments on being here for the first time.
Yeah, this is it's my first time here to West Virginia, so I'm excited about being here. And the only connection I've really had is to West Virginia has probably been either Sam Snead or my college roommate. But other than that, that's about it. So for me, this is it's fantastic to be here, and really looking forward to getting out there. And I'm gonna play a practice round today and kind of check out the golf course and see how it's playing.
Quite a week last week at AT&T National. Just comment on that win and also everything that went into it in terms of the weather, all the delays.
Yeah, the weather. I think everyone understands the impact that the weather had in DC, because they had it just as bad here, and it was pretty devastating. It was tough on our staff and the maintenance crews and everyone involved in the tournament. Long hours on Friday, well, early Saturday morning to get the golf course ready to play, and we were fortunate to get it in on Saturday, and so we didn't have to come back and play 36 on Sunday. That would have been really tough to play 36 holes in not only the heat but also logistically to try and get, I think it was right around 80, a little bit over 80 players around the golf course in 2 rounds. So it's been really tough.
Okay, we'll get started with questions. We'll pass microphones around. We'll start with Brian. First row.
Tiger, last week, Tiger Lesson's win. How much do you kind of take from that from a confidence standpoint? Obviously, you talked last week about how there's a point where that had waned, or is it sort of you compartmentalize, put it away, and just move on to the next week, or do you actually still kind of draw from it and into this week?
You know, you try and if you have a positive tournament, you try and ride that. And if you have a negative tournament, that didn't exist. So I feel obviously very excited about what I had done last week. Yesterday, I would say I kind of took the day off, but I really didn't. I had to do a shoot for Nike yesterday, so I was hitting some balls during that and working on a couple of things I didn't. I wanted to work on, talk to Sean a little bit about some of the things that were slightly off during the week, and also something we talked about, a lot of the things that I did right. So I'm excited to come out here and take a look at the golf course, but also work on a few things as well.
Okay. This is kind of a follow-up. Yeah. The fact that Sean hasn't been on the range as much, so he's pre-round, how much is that a sign of kind of really understanding what he's teaching you, what he's been teaching you, and support?
Yeah, I finally have an understanding of everything that he wants me to do. So I know what to do it right. Sometimes it's not quite there, but I know the fixes. And warming up, that's what it is. It's a warm-up. I want to get out there and warm up and then go play. I don't have to learn a system and have his eyes there all the time. But I do like having his opinion of after the rounds, and so we can do some practice sessions. Sometimes it's, hey, everything's good, want to go hit some balls, go some balls, want to go putt, everything's dialed in. Or other times, hey, I saw a couple things out there that you just want to be aware of, and we may work a little bit, or I may just go home and just think about it. But it's nice having this opinion afterwards.
Okay, let's go Robert, and then over to John.
So, when you have a week like you did last week, and where things were by and large going pretty well, how do you look back at, let's say, the US Open and say, what happened to you now that you look at last week and with the US Open? What happened to you on Saturday and Sunday that you can now look back and say, okay, this is what happened, this is what happened?
Well, it's the US Open, so if you're fractionally off in a championship of like that, especially on that golf course, it doesn't take much. As you know, you were there. I mean, if the ball wasn't shaped properly into the fairway, it wouldn't stay in the fairway. And I hit a bunch of fairways, but they just didn't stay in the fairway on Saturday. Hence, I was playing from the rough, can't control the ball in the rough, and I missed a couple opportunities. And as you know, it's shooting a high score. So it wasn't as far off as my score might indicate, but on that golf course, it could make you look like that. And especially the first 6 holes. And I was sort of subject to that on Sunday. And I got off to a terrible start on the first 6 holes, but battled back after that.
So do you just put that away and say, okay, that was specific to this event and this course? It's not reflective of what I'm doing generally.
Well, I did a lot of things right, and that's one of the positives I took out of it. Did I do a few things wrong? Of course, but it just didn't. I didn't get anything out of my rounds. I felt that Friday was a big day. I ended up being tied for the lead, but I felt I was just a fraction off from burning the last 3 holes, and that sometimes you need those kind of momentum shifts, and it didn't work out.
Okay, John, on the 3rd row and to the back.
Can you talk about the process of coming here? When were you sold on coming to Greenbrier? Did Jim Justice have to do a lot of pulling your arm, or what's that?
Well, this tournament has, since its inception, has been absolutely incredible. I knew about the history of it from Sam, and how much he loved coming here and loved being here. I mean, he was the representative of the club for a number of years, and I knew all that, but I think that what sold it to me is just watching on TV, and then seeing how much the players really enjoyed it. I wanted to play it last year because it fitted my schedule, but I was hurt and I didn't play anything this summer. So that was disappointing, but this year again it worked out perfectly. It's close to DC. A lot of guys are driving here from DC. On top of that, it's we get a week off after this to get ready for the British. Some guys may go over there and play the week before the British, but at least we had that option, and I think that's one of the reasons why the field is so strong here.
Okay, to the back.
Tiger, as someone who has dabbled in course design a little bit, I know a lot of guys would rather play an old style course like this one as opposed to some of the newer resort style courses. Is that true for you to have an appreciation for the old style courses and their characteristics?
Yeah, even though it's just called a TPC now. I'm excited about getting out here. The history of the golf course, having a Ryder Cup here and all that, but I haven't seen it yet. All I've seen is from the telecast of the event the last couple of years, and seeing Apples and Scott win. So it's from what I hear from the guys who have played the last couple of years, it's a totally different golf course than what it was first year. Much more difficult, and the guys said, all the players say it's plenty of room to drive it out there, but the greens they're a pretty tough complex, and you got to hit the ball in the right spot. So Joey was out here earlier today charting all the greens and getting all the numbers, but I need to get up and get the feel for them.
Okay, 3rd row, Ian.
Tiger, I know familiarity is a good thing, but is there a freshness to playing a course for the first time and seeing it all for the first time?
Well, it's exciting. It's exciting because it's exciting to go to other places in the world that I have never been. I've traveled all around the world, but I've never been to West Virginia. So this is new to me. This is exciting. It's I've been fortunate to have gone to a lot of states and a lot of different countries over my 17 years out here, and this is new. So not too many times you get to say that's new in the United States, but this is new for me.
And Rich, and then Todd.
Tiger, over you'd won 2 events before last week, and last week you had said that nobody said, well, 6 months ago, nobody said that you couldn't win again. But you had already won 2 events. What was the difference between last week and kind of giving a shout out as opposed to your first 2 wins this year? You know what I mean? It's a confidence thing.
I think that after I won at Bay Hill, I struggled at the Masters with some of the technical stuff that Sean and I were working on, and crept back to some of my old patterns. Then at winning at Jack's tournament, the tie, his all-time record was something pretty neat. But also now to break it at my tournament, I think to me that's special, to have had the success that I've had in a relatively short span of time. And I've been pretty consistent over the years. The average, I think it's over over 4 wins a year for my career. And even though I've had a few spells in there where I didn't win, I still think that's pretty good.
And Todd?
Tiger, kind of following up on what he said, you said, again, people would said that I wasn't going to win again 6 months ago, but here we are. I know you have a personal inner drive that's phenomenal, but can you quantify how much those doubters fueled your determination to get back to where you are right now?
Well, it's just like answering your question. I had to do it in every single press conference, and I do press conferences every term except for one, or two now. So that's something that it's, you know, I have to answer it after post rounds, whether it's in front of you guys or live shot. You do that for, you know, a couple of years. Sometimes you guys can be a little annoying.
Really? All right, right here.
Could you talk about your relationship with Sam Snead and what it's going to be like to chase his record now?
You know, I met Sam when I was 5. You know, he was playing at Calabasas out in LA, and I was he was doing an outing where you play with a new group every 2 holes, so we had 9 groups, and I was this little, you know, snot-nosed kid at 5 years old that he had to play the last 2 holes with, and I remember it's a par 3. You know, I'm 5. I can't carry it very far, and I hit it into the water, and he tells me to go, you know, pick up all the water. And even when my dad was alive, he'd tell me that I was slightly competitive even at that age, and I didn't like him telling me to pick the ball up because, you know, my dad always taught me to play it as it is. There's no such thing as winner rules. So I went and played it, and I made bogey on that hole in the par 3, and I made bogey in the last hole. And I still have the card at home. He signed it, and he went par, and I lost by 2. That was the first time I ever met Sam. But after that, we've had, you know, countless dinners and conversations, and he was always so funny to be around, and the stories he'd tell, and the needling was nonstop, and that was one of the neat things about being around Sam.
Right.
Kind of 2 different questions. One kind of taking off on Sam. What does his record mean to you personally? There's obviously been so much attention on Jack's record in the 18 majors. What does 82 wins mean to you? And then secondly, just a completely different question. You mentioned Noda giving you putting tip. If you can kind of expand on that a little bit from last week.
Well, I think that Sam's record is just absolutely phenomenal. And to do it for that long, to win a PGA tournament in his 50s, I think it was 52 when he did it, and the consistency that it took. I mean, he didn't exactly have easy guys to play against when you have, you know, Hogan and Nelson. You know, those guys aren't chops, you know. So to be able to do it for that long, that many generations, 5 decades of doing it is it's pretty phenomenal. And you know, it's a testament to not only that his swing is one of the classic swings that we all try and replicate, and we all looked at it, and we all analyzed it, and we all tried to do it. But he was blessed, just like Hogan, with just amazing flexibility that a lot of guys just can't do. I mean, he's kicking door archways in his 50s and 60s. Just phenomenal. But it was great to get to know him over the years, and it was sad when he had to leave. As far as my putting tip from note, that was a great conversation we had on what was it, Tuesday night, and it was kind of more of a philosophical talk, you know, about how I used to putt, what I used to think about. And when Noda's known me since I was 11 years old. We go way back from the junior world days. He was from New Mexico and I was from SoCal, and we meet, and we also played subsequent tournaments and college golf together. So he knows my game inside and out. And you know, just talking to him and picking his brain about what he thought about a few things, and he made me think back to some of my things I used to think about in college, and how I told him how to putt. And so you might want to go back to that. So I did, and played pretty good.
Okay, third row, right here.
Tiger, you expanded your schedule a little bit this year. I believe it was the Honda you played earlier this year, and now here at the Greenbrier. What are some things that you look for when you say, hey, I want to add a tournament to my schedule? What kind of things do you look for in the field and the tournament?
Well, I think it goes back to the golf course. A lot of it is how good a golf course it is, and you have to also have the right date, for a lot of players to play. And we have tours that we play all around the world, and so many different playing opportunities, and it's tough to make it all work. And I've added a couple events, and probably add a couple more throughout the year. So I'm trying to play different events in different places. It's the first time that I've been healthy enough to do it in a very long time, and I want to get back to playing a full-time schedule. And I think that once I'm able to play a full-time schedule, I'm starting to see some of the consistency come back. And I think that's one of the reasons why from basically Australia on, I played a pretty full schedule. Australia ended last year to now, and I think my results have reflected that.
Take a few more in the back.
You made reference to a connection to West Virginia through a college roommate. Could you explain that?
Yeah, it was my freshman roommate. Yeah. What's that?
Who was that? He was from West Virginia?
He was from West Virginia. I'm not going to give his name because I'm sure you'll research him, so we'll let him be. But I tell you what, the dude was smart.
Okay, Jason.
Tiger, you talked about playing more events over the past year now that you're healthy. You're ranked 4th in the world. It's been a while since your minimum divisor in the world ranking. I know this is some inside baseball type stuff, but your minimum divisor hasn't been at 40. On your current pace, it's going to go up. How much of a student of the world ranking are you, and do you kind of pay attention to that stuff?
Not at all. I haven't hit the minimum divisor, I think, since probably, 99 to 98, 99, somewhere in there. I've never played it. I can't. It's hard to play that many events for me.
Do you understand how much it'll help you, though, in that ranking if you do hit that divisor?
Yeah. I can do math.
All right, let's get Doug on the third row.
Okay, you answered. Think back to the memorial and you played with Scott Stallings. I know you were completely miserable that day with the flu, the fever, whatever. He said you two talked about this event and coming here, and you picked his brain about it. Did you talk about those conversations?
Yeah, it was. I was going to play the event, and just wanted to get his opinion on the golf course and what he thought of it. And he obviously liked it. We went here last year, and we talked about how he won in the playoff and how exciting it was, and what a rush that was. But he just liked the family atmosphere that the Greenbrier has, and how it's kind of like a very quaint place to play. And he said everything was positive about the golf course and what Jim has done and the entire facility.
Tiger, we appreciate you stopping by and play well this week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it,
sir.